This is ABC Radio Melbourne with Raf Epstein.
Some people think it'll be anarchy. Is it just a technicality? Will it make your owner's corporation essentially useless? There's a new case that's come through VCAT. It means a whole range of common owners corporation disputes could now have to go to the vote of all the owners and not just the committee. So you might need a special resolution to do some of those really often repeated tasks, stop the person smoking on a balcony, the dispute over the misuse of car parks, compelling the neighbour to fix a leak. It might have to go to the special resolution and not simply to the owners committee. What are the changes? Adam Prominence joins you from the Strata Owners Alliance. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
What do you understand the change to be?
So the change effectively is that it's not a change, it's an interpretation of the law, which is that for non-monetary matters, i.e. rule breaches, your barking dog, people making changes to the outside of the property they shouldn't, or other such matters, that now a special resolution is required. It's a crazy decision. It's just created anarchy for owners corporations around Victoria. Every owners corporation is worse off. Every lawyer we have spoken to thinks that VCAT screwed this one up, that they've got the interpretation of the decision wrong. In the 2021 changes, the government explanatory memorandum, which explained the changes, was specifically to stop this happening. So they've interpreted the intent incorrectly. In our view, it's complete howler from VCAT, the umpire in this situation.
Just explain for everybody. I mean, a lot of people are part of a body corporate and they still don't understand how it works. What's the practical import of this interpretation?
Okay, so whereas the committee before was able to pursue a rule breach, for example, somebody's barking dog or they've dumped rubbish or parking issues, now that it needs to go to a vote of all owners, but it's not just the normal resolution, it's a special resolution which has an even higher threshold. So you've got to have at least 75% of all owners vote, and that process to take place takes a minimum of 6 weeks. By the time you do the notice of the resolution, the notice of the vote, and the vote happens itself. So it takes a minimum of 6 weeks for the most basic things, and then you add on the 28-week to go to VCAT after that. It's just too much. It's a very expensive. It's adding a huge amount of cost and effort on already strained committees. Now, you've got to remember, these committees rely purely on volunteers. So what we're doing is we're burdening our volunteers for what's supposed to be some of the most affordable housing in Victoria with red tape and bureaucracy, which is just impossible. As I said, not a single lawyer we've spoken to thinks this was the right decision or is practical.
Are you sure you've got your interpretation of the judgment? Are you sure you're understanding that correctly?
Yeah, we're 100% sure. In fact, there's a further issue for units for schemes of 4 lots or less. Rule breaches are now unenforceable because you need that 75% threshold, and one owner can now stop an issue going to VCAT. So if you're in 4 lots or less, the rules may as well not exist because the single owner that you're breaching can now vote against it, and you can no longer take it to VCAT.
The rules, what was supposed to happen is that body corporates could get together and say no Airbnb in the block. So how does it affect that?
Okay, so if you're creating a new rule, so to ban Airbnbs, which is a good example, if you're creating a new rule, that has to go to a special resolution first. That hasn't changed to create the rule. But to enforce the rule, once the rule's been created, everyone's voted on and said, hey, we agree what the rules are. The committee is voted in by the owners to represent and make these regular decisions and say, hey, for an Airbnb or somebody's breaching noise or parking or something like that, that just the committee could vote and say, right, we've issued the rule breach, the owner hasn't responded or the resident hasn't responded, we now want to take this to VCAT, and the committee could do that. Now that's got to go to all owners in every case. It's just too burdensome. In our experience, in practice, committees are throwing their hands in the air and just going, this is too hard. We've just got volunteers who are just saying, we're just quitting. This is just too hard to enforce this now. We can't function.
Adam Prominence is from the Strata Owners Alliance. Adam, how often... So the way I understand this from all of the calls we get when we talk to David Whiting on a Tuesday, it's quite hard to get everyone to actually vote in a special resolution, isn't it? Like, that's one of the big hurdles, especially once you get the bigger blocks. It's just really difficult to get enough people to vote, isn't it, on anything?
That's correct. So I manage a 42 townhouse. We self-manage an owners corporation of 42 townhouses. I've done a couple of special resolutions myself and held them. We've got them to pass. In reality, you need a highly engaged set of owners. Now, what happens, especially in a lot of the larger buildings in the city or around, where you've got a lot of investors, so if you're not highly owner-occupied, if you've got a lot of investors or people have other things going on, or where you may have socio-demographic differences, it can be very, very hard to meet that 75% threshold, which is completely appropriate, for example, if you're trying to change a rule. And there are a handful of decisions under the Act which you do require a special resolution for, and we support that. There's no issue with that. But for day-to-day matters, it's just simply impossible for most owners' corporations to get these votes regularly.
We'll see if we can work out how to unscramble the egg, and we'll talk about it further tomorrow with David Whiting. But Adam, thanks for your time.
No worries. Thank you.
There you go, Adam Promnitz from the Strata Owners Alliance. Been speaking